This anime is called Maburaho, and from the looks of the box, it's a hentai. It's not a hentai. I actually rewatched this very recently. This was when I moved into this apartment. I watched this. I watched Desert Punk and one or two others kind of in a row as I was unpacking, getting everything done. It's fine. It's not good. You shouldn't say those two things in one sentence. It's mediocre. It's the epiphany of the antithesis. No, I don't fucking remember what word I'm looking for. It's the definition of mediocre. Lots of scenes where girlies' clothes are almost coming off, but it really wasn't even that exciting or that fun or that titillating, I guess. Character is kind of one-dimensional. The main character dies halfway through the season, and he spends the rest of the season as a fucking ghost. So spoilers, I guess. But no, I couldn't really recommend this to anybody. I don't think it was not bad, but it also wasn't very good. So I don't recommend it. Pretty box though. And she's got big boobs. And she's got big boobs. And she's got big boobs. Hang on, I'll be back. I gotta go jerk off. Magical Shopping Arcade Abenabashi. Abenabashi. This one is a studio Gainax. I was gonna say Studio Dean. I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's so much worse. It's Gainax. Oh my god. Yeah, this is a Gainax one. It's very irreverent. Kind of think the style of like Fooly Cooly, but maybe a little bit more, or a little less nonsensical, but still nonsensical. It was fun from what I remember. I don't think I ever finished it, but I definitely watched like half of the series, and it was pretty fun. So I'll go back and watch it again. I seem to remember that the characters kind of like teleport, or not teleport, but they jump between like different styles. So there's like a film noir one, there's a fantasy one, there's all sorts of different kind of like settings that they jump around to. I don't remember what the catalyst for that was, though. I don't know, because they're kids. They're definitely like 12 or 13 years old. So I don't remember if it was like their imaginations or if they were actually teleporting around to different like worlds, or I don't, whatever. It's a magical shopping. I don't fucking. This is a disaster. This is a disaster. This is a disaster. This is all your fault, Millie. Where'd you go? Mahoromatic. Mahoromatic, I have not watched yet. I just picked this one up. I heard that the anime is not very good. The manga was okay. This really doesn't feel like it has a fucking thing in it. It's the whole season. It's like 5 discs, but they're all spindled onto one, and it has a big foam insert here. So like when you're holding it, it feels like it's empty. Like this literally feels like it has no discs in it. I just picked it up not too long ago for cheap, and I'm looking forward to watching it, because the manga was good, but I'm not holding my breath. Now, here is a good one. Martian Successor Nadeska. If you have not seen Martian Successor Nadeska, I recommend it highly. This is a very good series. It's very much in the vein of, like, Neon Genesis Evangelion, but it's not Evangelion or Evangelion? Too late now. It's not nearly as serious. However, it does have serious moments. Like, this is mostly kind of a like, I'd say it's like 75% a comedy. There are some very funny elements in the series, but it's also got times where it's dead fucking serious and really high stakes for a lot of stuff that's going on. Very good show. I really enjoyed it. The main character, he's voiced by the same English voice actor who voiced Shinji in Neon Genesis. Shinji was his name, right? Shinji Ikari. That's right, yeah. Voiced by the same character, or the same voice actor. And he is like extra whiny in this one, and they're actually kind of playing off of the popularity of Evangelion. So when he is like that in the first couple episodes of this show, it's really kind of funny. It's kind of a meta joke, I guess. But no, highly recommended. If you get a chance to see this, watch. This is the collector's super edition of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. I did pick up the movie to The Disappearance. It does not normally come in this box. So if you buy this Blu-ray Ultimate Collector's Edition, it comes with Melancholy, Disappearance of Nagato Yuki-chan, and the Melancholy of Haruhi-chan, Suzumiya, and Nyoron Shuruya-san. The fuck is that? It does not come with The Disappearance, though, so you need to pick that up separately. However, The Disappearance is a really good movie, from what Will tells me. I haven't watched it yet. As for the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, I have almost finished it. But I got fucking sick of the Endless Eight. It broke me. Like, it literally... I was sitting there, I watched the whole goddamn thing from start to finish. And minor spoilers, if the Endless Eight ended a little bit differently, I would have been totally invested. I would have been like, that was 8 episodes well spent. But it didn't end differently. It ended... shittily. I did not like it, and it totally burned me out of the series. I watched like a half of the episode that came after Endless Eight, and I just stopped, and I haven't gone back yet. So this is Metropolis, and Metropolis I think that we covered on our 25 anime movies. I can't remember if it made the list or if it was just an honorable mention. Millie's really upset about that. Metropolis is a good movie, though. It's I don't know if I'd call it like a total masterpiece, but it's very cool visually. There's a lot of fun story beats to it. It's a fun anime. It's not anything totally breathtaking or world-changing, in my opinion. But it's a classic. If you like classic anime movies, this is a good recommendation, and you're going to enjoy it. Hello again. Here's a new one I actually haven't even opened up yet. I got the first season of Mob Psycho 100. This was actually my Christmas gift from Andy this year, so thank you very much, Andy. I really appreciate it. A lot of the anime that we've ended up getting has been Christmas gifts to and from one another. I remember I actually bought Your Name for both Will and Andy like 2 years ago when it first came out on Blu-ray, just because, fuck, Your Name. But I have not watched this yet. I saw One Punch Man. I loved One Punch Man. It was awesome. I know this is by the same creator. I'm pretty sure the same creator, at the very least the same studio, because the main character looks like the exact effing same. And I've heard nothing but good things about it. So I'm very much looking forward to watching this. I will be cracking out my copy very soon. I think I'm going to finish My Hero Academia first. As of right now, I'm like 2/3 of the way through season 3. I want to finish that, and then there's maybe like one other anime I want to get caught up on, but this is very, very much on my short list. So looking forward to it. Mononoke. We did a cover-by-cover episode of this. We sang its praises. Fantastic series. Super good. Check it out if you like horror anime. If you like really, really intriguing and super cool art styles. Check this one out. I haven't looked recently, but when I bought it, it was dirt cheap. Just like we said, it's seriously like $15. So it doesn't have an English dub, but it's totally worth it. Check it out. Watch it. Next up is Mushishi, and I know a lot of you are going to be familiar with Mushishi. Again, we did it on cover by cover. It's a lot of fun. This series it's not really horror. It does have some darker elements here and there, but it's more like supernatural. Like I'd say it just kind of follows more of like a supernatural mystery, kind of a solve the puzzle along with the main character kind of setup. So recommended, definitely. There is a second season of this out that I haven't watched yet. I want to wait I don't know if it's available to buy yet. I know it was on Netflix, but it was just in Japanese, so I didn't get around to watching it yet. But yeah, definitely check this out if you get a chance. This is the Super Saver edition, so you can get this anime seriously for like $20 or $25. Definitely worth it. My Hero Academia. This is all the rage. I know everybody's talking about this. I think this is one of the most recent anime I bought. It's definitely worth it. I think that they're coming out with a second season, but they're splitting it up again. Motherfucker, I don't like when they do that because they're just nickel and diming you. It's a lot of fun. I haven't finished the first season quite yet. I watched the first several episodes. Yay! I wanted to talk about this one for so long. My Love Story is a fucking really nice anime. I was really happy. So My Love Story, the story between this one, I don't remember the characters' names. So Goda and Rinko Yamato, basically they're two high schoolers, and Takeo is just an ogre of a dude. Like, he's really super tall, he's super burly, and he's terrifying to all the women. Like, none of the girls really find him attractive because he's an ogre, essentially. He's not, like, ugly per se, but he's very, very homely, I guess. But he's a huge guy, he's a really good athlete, and he ends up falling for this girl who is very petite. She's very small, and he kind of gets the feels for her when he ends up saving her on a train. And he saves her from like a perv who's trying to, like, you know, grab her butt or whatever. So she gets all blushy with him. The thing is, Takeo has a friend, like, it's basically his best friend, and the best friend is a really, like, the super popular, like, all the girls swoon over him, real, you know, beautiful boy or whatever. And when she starts wanting to hang around with him, immediately his inclination is, oh, she must have fallen for my friend, because all of the other girls really want to get in his pants and just totally ignore him. But of course, that's not the case. She actually likes him, he likes her. He doesn't care. Like, he's a good friend, but he doesn't care about her, or, you know, not in that way. I was concerned at first, because when I read the back of the box, like, basically what I just told you was the synopsis on the back of the box, I was worried that was going to be the whole show. Like, I was like, okay, you know, this is going to be a fucking love triangle where you're sitting there, like, wringing your hands and waiting because, you know, he's going to be in love with her, but he thinks that she loves him, so he's going to try to hook her up with him, and he doesn't like her, and she likes him. It's like, this is going to be a fucking mess. Like, you know, this 25 episodes of this is going to be garbage. By the end of it, you're just going to be fucking sick of it. But, to my surprise and glee, they dropped that entire thing by, like, episode 4. And they worked it out, and these two start a relationship, like, right away. So they actually get into a relationship, and the rest of the series is their relationship, like, getting, you know, them getting to know each other, and growing as people, and having a lot of fun adventures, and, you know, his interactions with them. It's a lot of fun. It's a very, very nice anime. The only complaint I have is I feel like it was very soft, and what I mean by that is when you look at an anime like Clannad, you know, Clannad is a very good anime because it tackles really hard issues. It actually, like, handles really sensitive subjects, you know, things like, you know, having an abusive parent, or coming from a bad household, or things like this that are very affecting to young kids, or, you know, young adults or whatever, and kind of how people cope with that and how they grow as people. And because of that, Clannad really soars. It really just achieves something that's almost untouchable in anime. Because of that, My Love Story doesn't really get close to that. This is very soft. I think there was one moment that I really latched onto that I really remembered. There was an episode or two arc where she was super embarrassed about something, and she just couldn't tell him. And I was waiting the whole time for this arc to be like, oh, you know, did something happen to her? Like, does she have a troubled past? You know, not to get gross or whatever, but it's like, you know, was she abused or something? Like, is there some reason why she doesn't feel like she can get close to him that really happened? And at the end of that little story arc, it wasn't anywhere even close to any of those. It was like she was embarrassed because she wanted to hold hands with him or some bullshit. So, because of that, like, it never really ascends to anything too serious. I think the most serious, like, plot element that they have to deal with is, like, one of their parents has, like, a heart attack or something and survives. So, like, it's intense for a little while, but it's totally out of their control. So, I don't know. It could have been more. It could have been more. It definitely ends on a kind of a cliffhanger. Not a cliffhanger, I'm sorry. It ends with an open-ended book where they could continue the story, and I would really be supportive if they continued the story. I would buy more. I don't know how the manga is. Of course, the manga expounds on the story even more, but I would definitely buy more anime. This was my second favorite anime I watched last year. I know it didn't come out in 2017, but it's the second favorite anime that I watched last year. This came out in 2016, so it's actually very recent, but highly recommended. definitely give this one a shot if you like romance anime, if you like comedy. There's some, oh my god, there are some really funny series. I'm gushing. There's some really funny scenes in this. I've laughed harder at this anime than I've laughed at some other, many other anime, and it's fantastic. So definitely check this one out, please. It's really, really good. Which then brings me to My Neighbor Totoro. My Neighbor Totoro, another Studio Ghibli film, another great film. Again, it's not super duper high on my list. Personally, my favorites of his are going to be, we'll get to them. We'll talk about them later, but it's not necessarily my favorite. I enjoy it, though. It's fun. It's cute. This is definitely more appropriate for younger audiences than some of his works, like definitely more than like Princess Mononoke or maybe Spirited Away. But it's still a very, very good show. A very good movie. Definitely check it out if you get a chance. And moving from a Studio Ghibli film to a Studio Ghibli film, here's another Hayao Miyazaki work, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. I almost say Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind, but it's of. This one is really good. I actually just watched it for the first time very recently. It was over Christmas. My brother got a copy of Nausicaa, and I got Kids on the Slope and another anime later on. But yeah, I just watched it recently for the first time. It was very good. Still holds up to this day. It was a little slow in the middle, I think, just a little bit, but some older movies suffer from some pacing issues comparatively to today. It might just be because the attention spans of people are changing as time goes on, but I would definitely recommend it if you like Hayao Miyazaki's work. It is among his best, for sure. I would say I like this one more than his younger audience scale stuff, like Kiki's Delivery Service and My Neighbor Totoro. Not quite as much as his best stuff, but I really, really would recommend this one. Very good. This is one of my pride and joys. This is the Neon Genesis Evangelion Platinum box that comes with 7 discs. It also comes with a one-of-a-kind numbered decal. Oh my god! No, this, I made a point of picking this one up, and again, this was back in the day when anime cost a fucking arm and a leg. This one especially, because I had to pay like $40 for just the first disc and the box, and then I think $30 a piece for the rest of these. So this is probably the most expensive anime I own purely on how much money I spent on it. Some other of my collections, maybe just due to being collector's items, might be worth more now. But this one is definitely near and dear to me just because of the investment and how much fun it was to actually collect this as it was being released. The Platinum edition of this was a remaster. They redid the visuals for it. They redid the audio. I don't know what I can say about Evangelion that hasn't been said before, to be honest. Will really despises this series, but I really like it. I mean, this is definitely cherished to me. I am one of those people that will just skip the last 2 episodes and move right on to End of Evangelion, the follow-up movie. But I really do enjoy this a lot. I really like the anime. I really like a lot of the things that they've done. There's a lot of the decisions they made in the anime. I think that it is a hallmark. Definitely a masterpiece in terms of anime. So, if you have not seen Evangelion for some reason, I would recommend this one. You can get by watching the movies that are coming out. The Evangelion 1.11, You Cannot Advance, and 2.22, whatever the bullshit they're calling it. I have seen those all up until the very last one that they released, which Will saw and he hated. So I didn't really rush out to see it. But I have seen all the other ones. Those are good, and they are definitely retellings of this in a more modern style. They cut out a lot of the unnecessary stuff. They shortened a lot of the fights. Because of that, some people really don't like it because, they're taking away some of the story of the original. But then again, maybe it needed to be retold. Who knows? I would say both of them stand alone on their own. I think that it's worth watching the original series for sure. And check out the movies as well. Speaking of movies, there's also the End of Evangelion and Death and Rebirth box set. I did buy this kind of around the same time that I got this because they came out around the same time. I'm going to be totally honest, I have never watched Death and Rebirth because I was told at the time, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section, please. I was told at the time that Death and Rebirth is basically a summary of what happened in the original series. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they added any new content or if it is literally a clip show. But I personally just skipped it because I don't... Because, again, that's what I was told. I was told that it was basically like a clip show from the original series and just retold a lot of it. If it expounded on it or something, please let me know. I'd be interested to go back and watch it if I did miss something. End of Evangelion, of course, is the movie, kind of the conclusion to the Evangelion story. It's good. It's very good. It's a little pretentious. I will say that. Not in the ending. Like I think that it ended fine. But the movie in particular, there are some really bizarre directorial choices, up to and including very long sequences of like live action camera shots. Also up to and including like just a shot of an audience in a theater watching the movie. Up to and including like 3 credit sequences or so that happen like in the middle of the movie and then just continue on. It's really bizarre. And please, you know, if you're going to be one of those people that's like, well, it's artistic vision, you know, maybe I'm too dumb to get it, but to me, it really came off as being a little too much. Like, End of Evangelion is one of those types of movies where I would like to go back and try my hand at editing it down, because I think I could probably shave a good 15 minutes off of this thing, and it would be a more cohesive movie, rather than being like, oh, I need to talk about how I feel about the state of the Japanese economy, so I'm gonna... Who cares? You know, I don't know. I personally, it had a lot of wasted time, and there are portions of the movie I just straight up fast forward. So if you do go into it watching it for the first time, keep that in mind. It is a good movie, though, and it is a conclusion to this story that's much more satisfying than the last 2 episodes of Evangelion. So go into it with that mindset if you do watch it. God bless if you do try. It's a challenge. It's a good series. Very worthwhile, though. Omae wa mou shinderu. Nani? The new Fist of the North Star. I haven't actually watched this. It's an OVA set. I watched a few clips on YouTube recently, actually, because I bought this and I was like, oh, why haven't I ever watched this? It's fun. It looks like fun. Nothing super crazy to write home about. It's short, though. Each of these are like, you know, like an hour or so, like 50 minutes to an hour. And I think it's just 3 individual OVAs that are included with this. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm going to watch it eventually. Original Fist of the North Star is a little bit before my time. So to be totally honest, I have not watched the original Fist of the North Star. Besides YouTube clips and, you know, references to other materials and stuff like that. I did watch the old 80s movie, the American, the American version. Or was that the 90s? It might have been early 90s, but yeah, the Americanized Fist of the North Star movie, I did watch that, and that was kind of embarrassing. But, I don't know. I'm going to watch this soon. It looks fun. Hey, next up is Nichijou. 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 Sounds like I'm saying Jew at the end. I don't know how to pronounce this. Please tell me in the comment section below. How do you pronounce this fucking anime? I watched the first several episodes, and it was decent. Very, it was an interesting sense of humor. I think that this is done by the same... Okay. From the creators of K-On! And Lucky Star. Thankfully, the back of the anime box just corrected me when I was about to guess this by the same people who did Lucky Star. Great. Similar sense of humor. This one is not dubbed. So this one just has Japanese subtitles. I know that's fine for most of you. I'm fine with it usually. I know some people are really persnickety about that. They're like, well, if you don't watch the subtitles, you're not a purist. I like subtitles sometimes. I like dubs sometimes. I prefer to watch it in dub if I can, just because I'm the type of person who likes to multitask. So I like to be able to do other stuff as I'm watching an anime. And if I'm watching it in subtitles, I have to focus, like laser focus on it, and because of that, I actually sometimes miss stuff. I find that I'm more perceptive about anime or content that I'm absorbing if I can occupy my mind with other things. I'm just, I don't know, ADD, maybe? I hate saying that, though. I don't... I've never actually been diagnosed with ADD. I might have it, but I think it's more just that I'm a creative person and I like to use my mind rather than just veg out and not do anything else. So, I got sidetracked. Must be that ADD. Nichijou was fun as far as I know. For the first couple of episodes, I will definitely be watching more of it. So leave a comment down below if you would recommend this anime to other people, including me. Leave a comment down below if your birthday was in the last year. Leave a comment down below if you think that pudding should be banned because of the crimes of Bill Cosby. Leave a comment down below if you think that Bill Cosby is innocent. Don't do that. Leave a comment down below if you think that Bill Cosby is not guilty. Leave a comment down below. Ninja nonsense! I have not finished watching this anime. It's a hoot, though. I did watch the first several episodes. Very, very cute, very fluffy anime. Basically, there's a ninja girl, this main character who's just a bumbling ninja in training. She ends up roping in this, like, schoolgirl who's not a ninja, as far as I know so far. Spoilers. I don't know. Ropes her into some goofy stuff. There's, like, a smiley face character who I didn't really care for. Like, he's funny, like, he has some comic relief stuff, but he doesn't make any sense in any aspect of anything. It's very reminiscent of, like, kind of like Bobobo, like that kind of, like, very irreverent characters who don't really belong in any world ever, but is just there and is supposed to be, like, I think he's supposed to be, like, a ninja grandmaster or something, but he's a little fucking smiley face. That's annoying. But it's fun. It's a fun anime so far. I enjoy it. Speaking of cute anime, speaking of cute ninja movies, Ninja Scroll is an adorable movie. This one has some really cute characters in it. There's lots of fun sparkles and puppies and hugs and... Oh wait, no. That's something that's not Ninja Scroll. Ninja Scroll is fucking intense. This movie's very gory, very intense, very cool though. This is from kind of the golden age of anime, 1980s, and such very vibrant, art style. Again, it suffers just a little bit from the pacing issues of anime at that time, but the action scenes are really, really something to behold. There's some little bit gross stuff in it. There's like a big rock golem guy who I remember decides to get a little tonguey with a female ninja, which is kind of awkward, but he gets his comeuppance, I guess, so it's fine. But no, very cool anime, very cool characters in it, and very cool design. I really enjoy this one. And actually, I'm a big fan of, there's a old series of video games called Samurai Showdown. It's an old SNK fighting game series. And I think that they pulled a lot of inspiration from Ninja Scroll because a lot of the characters in that game are like almost rips from characters in this. And it's really cool to see almost like a history of some of the characters of this game, that were very much inspired by what's here. And I don't know, maybe this was inspired by other stories. It could be, definitely. But yeah, Ninja Scroll, if you're a fan of classic anime movies, definitely check it out. Next up, we got No Game, No Life. No Game, No Life is fantastic. I really, really liked this series. It was a lot of fun. Ooh, sexy lady. Actually, she is really cute in the series. I really like her. She's probably my favorite, girl character. It was a lot of fun. It was kind of a bizarre premise. Basically, these two... Did we do a cover by cover of this? These two are brother and sister. I think one of them is adopted or both. I don't fucking know. Whatever. They're brother and sister. And they're really kind of unnaturally attached to each other. A little bit too much sometimes. But they're both hyper duper super geniuses who are fucking the most impressive brains ever. And they're video game addicts. They're total hikikomoris who just sit in their rooms and play nothing but video games. They end up getting challenged to a game of chess by a mysterious person online, And when they beat this person in chess, he's like, okay, hey, thanks, that was a fun game. Now, welcome to my world. And they basically get whisked away to this fucking fantasy world where everything ever is determined by games. So any disputes, any challenges, any contests for control of land or anything like that, it's all determined by games. So these two, of course, are fucking right at home because they're master game players. Like, they destroy everyone and everything in any game they play because they're super geniuses. But it's a lot of fun because I think that they're both good. They're fun characters to follow. I definitely like anime or whatever that have, like, the hyper-intelligent protagonist characters who also have flaws or whatever, even though it's a little bit convenient sometimes. In their case, they're essentially like hyper socially awkward in a lot of cases, and they also almost cease functioning when they're separated from one another. Like they have a very symbiotic mental relationship. So like if one or the other of them are gone, they struggle to be able to overcome that challenge, and that does come into play later on in the series. It's a lot of fun though. Very, very good. I highly recommend this one. There is a little bit of awkwardness. She's like fucking 9 years old or something, and there's fan service in the anime for her, so that's a little gross, but they don't dwell on it too much, so you can just kind of skip past that, whatever. There is, however, fan service of her and the other busty and legal girl who's in the series, and that's A+. So yeah, other than that, it's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, it's only like 10 or 11 episodes, and it's a ongoing manga or ongoing graphic novel, not visual novel. What the fuck is the term? Short? God. Anyway, this series unfortunately ends a little bit abruptly. I really hope they come out with a second season. They did just come out with a movie, which I think is a prequel or something. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm excited to see it, and I hope that the sales from that and this will be enough for them to actually like continue making this, because it's a really good series. I really, really like it, and I recommend it big time. Next up is an anime called Noir, and I gotta be completely honest, I don't know if I've ever watched this. I may have. This is a kind of a blank spot in my brain, to be 100% honest. I think I bought this, again, back when I was buying anime for cheap. I probably paid like 30 or 40 bucks for this box set. This was when they just started doing these, like, thin sleeve box sets, so it was kind of when they started approaching the whole, let's try to give you a better price. And actually, if I recall correctly, it was one of these. I remember I got a couple of anime box sets that actually came with like one of those inserts, like the customer feedback forms. And I remember looking at the forum, and it was like, what would you prefer for your box set? Would you prefer for it to be cheaper or have bonus features? And I was like, cheaper? I don't know. I very rarely watch the bonus features. So this must have been what started that trend of doing the whole save series or whatever, and being able to get anime for an actual reasonable price. Hooray! But yeah, I digress. I don't know if I ever watched this. I was recommended it for sure, and I seem to recall something about it, but I just don't know. I'll get back to you on this one. I will watch the first few episodes and let you know if I remember, if I watched it. Now and then, here and there, we did cover on Cover by Cover. We watched the first couple episodes. I don't think Will recommended it. The first two episodes are dour. They are bleak. When I first got the series, and this is actually probably among the first, 10 anime I ever bought. It was definitely early on. But when I bought this series, the reason I bought it, I was recommended it because someone said that this was the anime version of Grave of the Fireflies. I wouldn't necessarily go that far. It's not Grave of the Fireflies material, but it's fucking dark. This involves, torture of kids, child servitude, really cruel dictatorship. Very dark universe, but very cool universe. I actually really like the design of this one. It does have a good arc. It has a good storyline. There are a lot of good, emotional beats that they kind of hit with it, and then it has an ending. Like, it has an actual series ending. It's not like, come back next season, then there's no next season. So, Definitely. Personally, I would really recommend this one. Beyond the cover by cover, you know, I know Will said he wouldn't continue watching it. I can't remember what my verdict was. I may have cheated and said, I have seen this series and I do recommend it. But I do recommend it. So if you get a chance, give this one a shot. And then we come to Yon Koi. Yon Koi was a cute anime. It's not anything to write home about. It was cute. It was fun. It's another kind of harem-ish anime. The basic storyline for this one, the main character is a guy who is like deathly allergic to cats. And he fucks something up. I think he like accidentally knocks over a cat shrine or something and breaks it. So he gets cursed by a cat spirit that basically gives him the ability to talk to and understand cats. And he has to fulfill favors for cats, or else he will become a cat. And because of his deathly allergic reaction, he will die, because he will be allergic to himself and then die. So, it's a cute premise. I think it's really fun that they do the whole, like, you know, cats keep walking up to him and they're like, can you please help me? And he's like, get away from me, I'm gonna sneeze to death if you come any closer. It's a cute concept. The girls that are in the show are cute. You know, again, it's very harem-ish. They're a little one-dimensional, though, I will be totally honest. There was an episode of this that sticks with me because of how... I mean, it wasn't a bad episode, but it was kind of a bad episode. One of the girls in this series is a... she's like a... kind of a butch... a little bit butch, you know, without a better way to describe it, it's flat-chested, girl, and she's like a, you know, leader of the kendo team, kind of those tropes. And when she's introduced, you know, she's speaking to this character, and she's, you know, you're annoying me so much, and hits him in the head with a sword. And she's like in a Yakuza family or some shit. I don't remember all the details, but I just remember the moment she's introduced, I was like, okay, she's going to be another love interest here. And they keep going in the episode, and they're kind of like building up, like he gets invited to her Yakuza house, and there's some hijinks that happen. He gets invited to a room, all this stuff. And like, I'm like, okay, you know, kind of typical things. But then like he says or does something that's really confusing. And the reason why is because he ended up saying something like calling her a he. I think he actually said the term like he has a big family or something like that. And I'm just like, the fuck? What'd you just say? Like, do you seriously think she's a guy? She's not spoken like a guy the whole time. Like, yes, she's been wearing, you know, loose-fitting clothes, and yes, she is, like, kendo leader or whatever. She has not been, she is very clearly a woman. Like, there's no world in which anyone would be like, that's probably a dude, because of, like, the way she's animated and everything else. But then the build-up for the episode is that, like, he's, like, falls on her, and he's like, what? You have boobs? I didn't realize you were a girl. I'm just like, come the fuck on. There's no world in which, like, anyone would look at her and be like, oh, that's probably a guy. You know, like, I understand there are some people who are a little bit androgynous, or maybe, you know, have boyish features or girlish features, if, you know, so forth, whatever. She was not built up that way, not properly at least. They could have done a much different job. It was a little bit reminiscent of... It's a little bit reminiscent of that anime. Whatever I just put on the screen. I can't fucking remember the name. Except in that anime, like, when she was originally introduced, she was a little bit boyish. Like, it was like, she was voiced by a female voice actress in the English dub, of course. But she was, like, you could definitely think, okay, maybe this is kind of a girlish guy, you know? That was actually done well. This one was done poorly. But it was just one episode. It was fine. It was a very begrudging complaint. I wouldn't really knock the whole series for it. You know, maybe I'd take a point off or something for having a dumb as hell episode. But other than that, the show is a lot of fun. Give it a shot if you want. I don't fucking know. I'm rambling. Oran High School Host Club. Motherfucker. One Piece. Yay! You know, this is another one. You know, what can you say about this anime that hasn't been said before? Very good. Probably my favorite shonen that I've ever seen. Well, sorry, let me say that again. Probably my favorite shonen that I've ever read. The manga is fantastic for this. The anime is good. The big caveat that I give here, and I actually, to be honest, I have not caught up with the anime. I'm not, 100% all of the way through. But the one caveat with the anime is they have filler episodes. They have filler arcs. And of what I've seen of the filler episodes and filler arcs, they are garbage. Just as a point of reference, very early on in the series, they stop at this place called Rouge Town. It's kind of like the last stop before you get to the Grand Line sort of thing. And in the manga, there is a single page where they show Usopp, who's one of the characters. This one here is Usopp. He gets a new pair of goggles. He has goggles that he wears to kind of get better long vision or whatever. And Sanji, who's the ship's cook, he gets a gigantic tuna or a giant fish of some sort. He buys it from the market and brings it on board. It is literally one page, or a half of a page in the manga. And in the anime, they break these two stories into two separate episodes. They have a fucking mini story for how Usopp got his goggles and how Sanji got a fish. And they're garbage. They're actually bad. So, having said that, I know that there are some guides online that you can actually check out that say, these are filler episodes, you can basically skip these. Or these are, filler arcs, you can basically skip these. The stuff that comes from the source material is pretty faithfully brought over, and actually, it's quite well done in the anime from what I've seen. I can't say how good it is later on, but it's very successful. They're still producing it. I've got the first 8 collections, and I know that there's fucking 6 more that I have to get caught up. So, I definitely recommend it. If you can, read the manga, because the manga is fantastic. Failing that, or if you just really, really love it, check out the anime. The collections are not bad. I think it's $20 or so for 26 episodes, and they come in 26 episode bunches. So, check it out. Next up is the OVA for Oh My Goddess, which, interestingly enough, I do have down by the O's because the original series is called Ah My Goddess. The OVA was very old. This was done... Shoot, when was this released? 93. Jeez. So yeah, these were done in 1993, and they were very short. I think it's just 1 or 2 episodes. Or they're movies, basically. 87 minutes, 69 minutes. They're fine. They're not great, though, because, Oh My Goddess was a very successful manga for many, many years. There's a lot of story to be told, and this really, really truncates it. It really crunches it down a lot. Oh My Goddess tells it in a much longer form and much more deserving format. So, if you have to choose between the two, go with Ah My Goddess, the actual series. These are not necessary, I would say. These are another couple that I actually bought from my old roommate. I mean, they're fine, but they're not necessary by any means. So. I'm such a fucking weeaboo. I'm so sorry. Never show or tell that to anybody. That is just between you and me if you tell anyone. Outlaw Star is, by the fact that I'm sitting here holding 2 separate box sets, hopefully very, very easy to determine, is my favorite anime of all time. Outlaw Star is fantastic. This is actually one of the very first anime that I ever watched. I'm sure I have a bit of an unnatural attachment to it because of that, but it's fucking awesome. I really love... I'm going to put one of these down. I really love a lot of what they did in this show because I'm a big fan of sci-fi. I have been for my whole life. I grew up living and breathing Star Wars. I'm a big fan of kind of a little bit more realistically rooted sci-fi too. A lot of the ships in this show are really well designed. A lot of the space stations, a lot of the docks that they go to, a lot of the design of the world is really cool. About the most unrealistic things about these, there is a little bit of magic in the show. It's not super duper prevalent, but there are, some space wizards out there. And the ships fight with grappler arms. They basically kind of fly around and slam into each other with, fucking arms, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, to be honest, it's a little goofy or whatever, but I think it works. You know, this show makes it work, and they make it look really cool. They they animate it very, very well. The characters are all a blast. I really like the main character. I think he's, you know, a very cool hero. I really like the supporting cast. The plot is fine. You know, it's good. They're basically hunting down some mystical treasure out there called the Galactic Ley Line, and they want to get to it before the space pirates do. And they have a special ship that is capable of traversing the Galactic Ley Line called the XGP, but they call it the Outlaw Star, of course. A ton of fun. It's a little bit older. So what I'm holding right now, this is the Blu-ray limited edition that they released, which is like in the kind of the design of the ship, which I think is really cool. And then they have like some neat inserts. They have an art book in here. It comes with the DVD and the Blu-ray. The only warning I will give going into this, you know, it's a little bit in its time. I mean, there are a few filler episodes. They're not bad. I do enjoy them, and actually some of the filler episodes have a point. Like, Jean has a weapon called a caster, which is essentially a gun that can shoot magic, like, and it's one of the things that can battle the magic in the universe. And it's a cool plot device because he has a limited amount of ammunition for it, and the ammunition is very rare and very scarce. So there are some episodes in this where, like, the purpose of the episode is for him to find more ammo so they can continue with their journey and actually stand a chance against these powerful, you know, Tau, I think they're called Tau wizards or something. So that's fun. Like, it's actually cool. I really like kind of the finite resources angle to it. It really adds kind of a cool little textured layer. If you're a fan of Trigun, if you're a fan of Cowboy Bebop, any shows like that, this is definitely a recommendation. If you're a fan of sci-fi, this is a recommendation. If you're a fan of anime, this is a recommendation. I really, really like this. Is my favorite series of all time. And yeah, this is the very first anime I ever bought. This box right here is the very first anime that I spent money on. I was 15 or 16 years old when I bought this. The reason I got into anime at all, I had seen a few episodes of Dragon Ball Z, I had seen a few episodes of Sailor Moon, things like that. But Cartoon Network came out with a show called Toonami. It came on in the afternoons, and they played anime on it. They played Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, and then Outlaw Star is one of the very first ones that they showed. And when I watched the first episode of this, I was fucking confused. I was like, what is this? This isn't anime. This is not what I'm used to. This is totally bizarre. But then I watched the second episode, and the third episode, and the fourth episode, and fucking all of them, because this show was amazing. And this, like, literally, this box set has a place in my heart, because this is the very first anime I ever spent money on. And this is what got me into anime in the first place. So, you know, it's beat up. I fucking took this thing everywhere with me. I took it down to Mississippi with me and showed it to one of my cousins down there and got him into anime. This got another one of my family members into anime. Like, it's really special and it's really cool. I highly, highly recommend this to anybody. I'm gushing, I know, but this is what did it for me. It's all your fault! Fitting that we then move on to the anime that almost got me out of anime, fucking Panty and Stocking. I am being a little hyperbolic. Panty and Stocking is a very funny series. It's very sexualized, of course. You know, that's the humor. That's a big part of the humor to it. The characters are quite goofily animated, but there are some genuinely funny parts of this series. This has some of the most funny episodes of an anime I've ever seen. One of the big standouts for me, there is an episode of this anime that is literally following around like a depressed salaryman. It doesn't have Panty and Stocking in it, like, barely at all. Almost the entire episode follows around like a depressed, like, kind of crushed under the weight of the world, like, middle-aged worker who goes to work, hates his job, hates his life, comes home to, like, an ungrateful wife and a bratty kid, and, like, the only time the fucking Panty and Stocking show up in the whole episode is they're, like, on TV because they're fighting some monster, and his daughter's like, I love Panty Stocking, I want an autograph of theirs or some shit. And then, like 80% of the way through the episode, or, like, near the end of the episode, they show up because they start battling in his town, and, like, they show up just for a moment and kind of, like, cross paths with the old man. I can't remember exactly what happens. Like, he might die. I don't remember, though. It's either that, like, my brain is getting fuzzy. It's either, like, he fucking dies, or I think he might actually ask them for their autograph, and they, like, tell him to fuck off or something, and then keep going and fighting the monster. But it's just a really, like, it's funny as hell because it's so out of touch with the rest of the show so far, and it's so, like, such a tonal shift. But that's what makes it hilarious, because you're sitting here watching this, like, why are we watching a depressed salaryman for fucking, like, 20 minutes? Well, Panty and Stocking are nowhere to be found anywhere except off battling a monster. It's really well done. It's a really fun show. That's, of course, just one example. It's Gainax, and because of that, the ending to this show is notoriously shit. It's fucking atrocious. Like, I am one of the many people who think that this is a garbage, stupid ending that came out of fucking nowhere and was retarded, and I hate it. So, yeah, I'm one of those people. But the rest of the show was fun, but literally the ending by itself is enough to knock, like, 3 points off of the score I would give this anime. So, overall, I'd recommend it. Give it a shot. It's funny. Shut it off after the credits roll for the final episode, because it's just not even worth talking about or seeing. Parasyte The Maxim is a masterpiece. This is a very, very well done anime. This came out very recently, and surprisingly, it's actually based on a manga that was from the 80s. Maybe even earlier. It might have been from the late 70s, but it's a very old manga. It's dark. It's violent. It's very much an adult anime. Like, if you are squeamish, you're going to really struggle with, like, the first half of this show. You're going to struggle with the whole thing. It's very, very grisly. There's quite a bit of body horror stuff in it, but that's not the point of the show. The show is not like, let's gross you out with as gross of things as we can possibly do. There are some horrific things in it, but there's so much more to the story. It tells a very compelling story. The main character is really, really intriguing. He starts off as kind of a wiener. Because of things that occur in the show, he basically really toughens up quick and transforms quite a bit as a character and becomes a hero. Not perfect, though. He's not like, Mr. Action Man. He has a lot of flaws, and he has a lot of character to him. The most intriguing thing about this show, to be honest, is the world that they're in. The world building in this is so well done. It's such a fully realized vision, very well fleshed out. There's a lot that goes into this having to do with, like, almost the politics of it. Like at its core, this is an alien invasion. A horrific event occurs, and this parasite, this alien infestation, comes down to Earth and starts fucking everything up. And it's kind of how humans learn to deal with it and how the alien learns to deal with it. Like, it's really cool. It's really, really well done. So there's a lot of very sympathetic elements to this as well. There are some extremely intriguing story elements, some character elements. There are things having to do with, like, offspring and where that falls in, like, the spectrum of, what kind of rights do these have, based on where they are. I don't know, I'm gushing again, I know, but I just really, really recommend this one. If you like serious anime, this is a very, very good show. And again, it's going to be tough to get past if you're squeamish. If you don't like gory stuff, as you can see, these covers are basically just covered in blood. They very much marketed it like this. But it's so much more than that. And I cannot recommend this highly enough. This is my third favorite anime of last year. Just barely behind My Love Story. Like, this is a phenomenal show. Just barely behind My Love Story, just because I'm a fan of cutesy stuff like that. And number one will be coming up in just a moment. But as sure as fucking this one, Phantom's fucking garbage. I hate this show. I went back and tried to watch this. It sucks. I hate it. It's balls. Kill me. This is not my favorite anime of last year. This is my favorite anime of no years. It's holding a record. This next one, however, was my favorite anime of last year. And that would be Ping Pong the animation. Now, bear with me. This did not come out last year. This is a few years old now. But I don't get to watch anime the moment they come out usually. I'm a little bit behind, but this was phenomenal, and this was my favorite series that I watched for quite a while, actually. Fantastic. show. And to set the stage for this one a little bit, it's kind of weird. The animation in the show looks really bad. If you look at screenshots, I'm actually going to show you the slipcover here. If you take a look at some of the still images, the animation does not look good at a glance. However, when you see this thing in motion, it is mind-blowing how good the animation is. Like, they do some of the most cool as hell action scenes I've ever seen, and they're playing ping pong. Like, this show has no right being as good as it is. The main character is a blast. I really like what they did with him. They really tackle some important issues. Like, they tackle some important character elements with him and with his, friend, kind of these two characters that they follow. It's just really, really, really well done. It's very well explored. There's a lot of angles to it, having to do with competition, having to do with kind of what it does to the psyche of a teenager. These are high schoolers for the most part, playing the super, super competitive, super high-end sport that has a lot of prestige on the line. It's table tennis. It doesn't seem like it should be that big of a deal, but it is. And you believe it. By the time you get to the end of this series, there's so much emotion going into it. It's incredible. And I would love to talk about the end of this show, but I don't want to get into spoilers. I really do not want to spoil what happens. But it was like the way that they did everything, the way that they ended this show had me getting emotional. I don't think I broke down into tears, but it had me getting emotional. And it wasn't like I'm sad or I'm happy or anything. It was just everything. It was like every emotion that could possibly be happening to me was happening all at once because of the way they ended this and how well they did it. So I literally cannot sing the praises of this show high enough. It's not perfect. It's not. There is one character arc in the show that is pointless, as far as I know, and they spend time on it, and they never should have. I don't know, I need to go back and rewatch it again. Maybe I missed something, I don't know, but there is literally a character in the show that I think did not deserve to be in the show, because this character shows up, some people talk about this character, and then the character leaves, and that's it. This totally undeserved screen time. But that's it. That's literally the only complaint I have about the show. Everything else was so well done. I can't wait to watch it again. I actually, believe it or not, I watched the show. The moment I finished watching the show, I watched it again. I never do that with anime or movies, for that matter. I never do that at all. Really highly recommend this one. It is such a great show. Check it out, please. With the abacus. Next up is Plastic Little. Sucks. And next up is Please Teacher. Please Teacher, I think this was originally called Onegai Teacher? What a bizarre show / universe. I went back and tried to watch this one again. It felt like it was a little bit like Tenchi Muyo, a little bit bizarre, kind of like romance anime, but not really good. I don't know. It wasn't good. I don't remember it being good. It was not bad, it wasn't terrible, but it was not enough to keep me going. I watched the first 5 episodes and then gave up. So, I don't know if I could recommend this one. This is in a weird spot though, because this series, when I was first getting into anime, was popular. And there were other Please animes that came out. There was Please Teacher, there was at least one other one called Please Twins. And I'm pretty sure it was a connected universe or something, because it was the same font and the same style. Maybe they were just harping on it and they were copying it or something. And I think there might have been other ones too. This is a weird one, because again, there's some sort of universe here or spin-offs or something like that. And I just don't know enough about it to be able to tell you one way or the other. So, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'll go back and rewatch it at some point, probably, but it's low on the list, so don't hold your breath. Speaking of holding your breath, next up is Princess Mononoke. Princess Mononoke is, of course, a masterpiece. I would agree with Will that it is one of Hayao Miyazaki's best films. However, I do like Spirited Away a little bit more than this one. I do think that this is great. It's a very, very good film. Personally, I like Spirited Away more. And to be totally honest, Spirited Away is my favorite Hayao Miyazaki film. Regardless of that, this is a very, very, very well done anime. Extremely well animated. A lot of really intriguing plot elements. I think that the plot is impactful and very much poignant, you know, even today. Hayao Miyazaki is very famously anti-war, and that does show in this anime, but it still has really cool action scenes, and it has really awesome effects, and, you know, just it's really, really well done. So I recommend this for sure. This is another one of the anime that was like one of the very first ones I bought, because when I was getting into anime, most of the early anime I purchased were like recommendations from people. So things like Grave of the Fireflies and Princess Mononoke and Akira and Ninja Scroll and like you know, Vampire Hunter D. A lot of those ones that are kind of like Hallmark classics were what I was starting with. Trigun and Cowboy Bebop and those kinds of things. So this is one of the very first anime DVDs I bought, along with Outlaw Star. This was very, very early on. Before I watched this, and even still sometimes when I look at this, I fucking think that they're holding lightsabers. Because look at the reflection on that. It looks like they're holding lightsabers. So I was like, is this a Star Wars knockoff? Are they using lightsabers? Are they gonna use the Force? Is she a Jedi? Speaking of midi-chlorians, Ponyo. Ponyo is a fine movie. It's definitely among the more childish... I'm sorry, I shouldn't say childish. Childlike. Let's go with that. It's one of the more more enchanting Hayao Miyazaki films. Because of that, it doesn't have quite as much substance as some of the other films. But it's still fun. It's very charming. I love the granny characters. They are so adorable. The little boy, the main character in this, kind of besides Ponyo herself, the little boy, his mom works at a nursing home or like an assisted living home or something like that. And there are these little old ladies there. They're so fucking adorable. They're just the cutest little old ladies. And they're voiced by like Cloris Leachman and Betty White. It's super cute. They're really adorable. So yeah, I like it mostly for that. Some of the elements in this one get a little bit trippy, but I still think it's good. I definitely recommend this one. I really enjoy it, so give it a look. Rahxephon is an interesting anime, and I say that because I've never finished it. I'm very sorry. Rahxephon was a very early recommendation for me, coming off the backs of Neon Genesis Evangelion and a lot of other, again, classic anime when I was getting first involved with this. It's weird. It's very weird, and I just recently tried to rewatch this. I got to like episode 5 and I got burned out again. So this is what keeps happening with this show. Something about the first arc is really slow. It's a very intriguing world, but it's not like gripping. It's not the type of thing where I'm like, I have to keep watching this to know what's happening. It's weird. The best way I can summarize it is basically there are giant robots who are out there, and these robots fight by like singing, and they sing at very high, like, you know, frequencies and shatter a bunch of stuff and blow stuff up. And then there's the Rahxephon, which is essentially kind of the hero robot that also floats around and sings and is kind of like, it's so perplexing. Like, I just watched this. I just watched this show like less than 6 months ago, and I still can't fucking remember like what the hell is going on. It's kind of trippy, to be honest. I remember there's some kind of like, you know, oh, this girl that you thought you were friends with or whatever, turns out she's a magician or some shit. I don't know. ADV Films. Email info@advfilms.com. Dear info@advfilms.com. What the fuck is up with Rahxephon? Send. Let's see what they say. Oh, they replied. Message undeliverable. Redline! Yay! We did an entire Animerica episode on Redline. It's fucking bonkers awesome. Watch it. Seriously, it's so much fun. Watch it. So this is the Revolutionary Girl Utena total super duper collection. This is the Student Council Saga, the Black Rose Saga, and the Apocalypse Saga. I ain't watched shit. This next one is called Ristorante Paradiso. I bought this anime on a lark, and what the fuck? It's not bad, but it's weird. So, to put it lightly, the girl who's here is like a 19 or 20-year-old girl, and she ends up going to a place called Casetta dell'Orso is the name of the restaurant. The restaurant is like a gimmicky restaurant because all of the waiters and all of the staff there are described as elderly gentlemen wearing glasses. And they're all like super courteous and super polite and very like gentlemanly, but they're all older guys, like 40 plus, probably 50 plus. You can see on the cover, there's definitely aged gentlemen. And this is a fine premise. Obviously in Japan there are maid cafes. This is kind of a play on that a little bit, except, this is a restaurant that's run by gentlemen. And you can tell that a lot of the clients who are coming into this restaurant are, maybe elderly-ish women or lonely women who get a kick out of being served by gentlemanly older gentlemen. Much like people who go to a maid cafe are lonely guys who enjoy being served by girls in skimpy maid outfits. So I can see the appeal. I can see the premise. The culinary stuff that they do is really cool. It's really neat. Where it gets weird is the fact that our 20 or something year old protagonist basically swoons over these 50 plus guys. Obviously it's legal. There's nothing really wrong with it per se, but it's weird because I don't really, I watched the first several episodes of this and I did not feel any chemistry. I did not feel like one of these guys is wow, she's beautiful and I want to make her mine. It was more like the guys are doing their jobs and they're we're gentlemen and we're going to be polite and we're going to be really cool. So ultimately, I just didn't really feel the chemistry between these characters. I didn't feel like any of the gentleman characters were we actually are falling in love with this girl. It's more like she's swooning over older dudes because she's weird. She likes older dudes, and that's it. That's really all there is to it. It's I could get behind it if there was more substantial story being told here, and maybe there is later down the road, but it just wasn't enough to grip me right off the bat. And because of that, I haven't finished, watching any more of it than I did. So, maybe it gets better. Let me know in the comments below if it gets better. Next up, we have Robotech. Actually, this was a gift to me from Will. This was Christmas. I think it was last Christmas he got me this. 20-disc collection, the complete Robotech series, along with the 3 Robotech movies. This is fucking everything, I think. I'm really excited to get into this. I did watch part of the first episode, and it's so campy. It's a little bit of a struggle to get through because of how old this show is, but I'm looking forward to it because I've always been a fan of mech anime. Gundam has been, a big part of my anime adolescence, I guess. I've been a big fan of that for a long time. And Robotech, I think, is going to scratch that itch for sure and show where some of this stuff came from. So, really cool. I'm super excited to get into this. And 1985. That's when it first came out. Jeez, wow. Very cool. I'm very excited about this. And it's a cool box set, too. Thanks, Will! Royal Space Force. I don't remember buying this. Okay, apparently I have Royal Space Force. This is a very acclaimed anime movie. I remember seeing about it when we were doing research for our 25 best anime films. To be completely honest, I did not watch every single one of the top 25 best anime films that we recommended. Between Will and I, we have seen all of them. We did a research. Any of the movies we hadn't seen, we went and watched. And this is one that I saw ranking highly on a lot of lists. I don't know why we didn't get around to it at the time. But we didn't get a chance to really look into it. So maybe this would belong on that list. I just don't know. I will be cracking this out and watching it very soon. Don't you love when you just find surprise anime? You're like, I didn't realize I owned this. Okay. Next up is one called Saber Marionette J. I've never watched this. As I mentioned before, I used to work at GameStop, and occasionally we'd have people trade in anime, so this is one of those cases. And because GameStop was kind of cool, we had barcodes for a lot of things in the system, but if we didn't have a barcode for something, some sort of movie or anime or whatever, we would basically bill it as like a generic thing, which I think were only like $2 or $3 a disc, basically. So however many discs this was, looks like 6. I think this thing only came out to cost like, I think I paid like 12 or 18 bucks for it. So whoever traded it in was fine with however much cash or credit they got for it. You know how it is when people sell their old media and stuff. So I got it for really cheap, and I just haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet. This next one is called Sayuki. I'm gonna nerd out a little bit on this one. Let me let me just tell a real quick thing. So, as I mentioned, you know, a lot of the anime I bought back in the day was when anime were sold like this. Like you would buy the box and then fucking one disc or something. And that's how this one came. However, Sayuki is a 12-disc series, so there were 2 boxes that were released. And for whatever reason, I could find the first box, but I could not find the second box in stock. So you would have to buy like this plus the first 6 discs, and then the second box plus discs 7 through 12. What I did, because Sayuki got re-released a little bit later, they released all of them as what they call double barrel collections. You can see here it's double barrel collection. This one has 10 complete episodes on 2 DVDs. So they re-released the show, cramming 2 volumes into 1 slipcase. And because of that, I was able to buy just the box for the first, you know, it's called DVD Box 1. But then I bought the double barrel collection for all 6 of the volumes, so this is actually the entire Sayuki series. There is another series called Sayuki Reload, which I have not picked up yet, plus there is I think a newer show as well, which I also haven't gotten. But yeah, this was, I was introduced to this one in my anime club. I remember watching it and having a lot of fun. Pretty straightforward, kind of a fantasy story. It's the Chinese legend. Oh, is it Chinese? Jesus Christ. Journey to the East, I think it's called, with Son Goku, which, you know, obviously Goku from Dragon Ball Z is loosely based on it. Son Goku is like a kind of a monkey boy. And then the other characters, I do not recall their names, but there's basically this kind of traveling band of 4 characters who go on a journey to do shit. And then probably save the world or some bull. I don't know. It's been a long time. But I remember enjoying this one, so I will be dusting this off soon and giving it another watch. And then I also have the movie, apparently. Sayuki Requiem, the motion picture. Never watched it. I've got this one called Sakura Diaries. This is another one I bought from my roommate. Ew. Ew. What is that? Is that a... Ew. Ew. Did you jizz on this? Is this a porn? Damn it. Yeah, I have, I've never watched this. I bought it from my roommate, and there's like a big wet stain on here. Like, I can't tell if that's water or if that's... It doesn't look like it's supposed to be on there. It looks like sticky residue or something. Nasty. Ew. Ew! Hello, everybody. Back again with yet another costume change, because I'm going to talk about an anime that I forgot about basically every single time I've ever thought about anime throughout my life. And that's not for any reason that you would expect. It's not because it's a bad anime. It's not because it's an anime I despise or anything like that. It is because the box set for the anime is distressingly humongous and does not fit on my anime shelf. So I actually have it on top of my bookshelf in kind of a display area. And because of that, I think, you know, maybe this is a unique box set that not a lot of you have ever seen or encountered before. So let's just jump into it. Let me try to... Oh. Alright, so the box set in question is this one. It is the 7 volumes of the anime Samurai 7. Let me try to lift it up like this. As you can see, they are 7 individual Gigantor boxes. Each one contains... I'll actually crack one of these open to kind of show you. Each one contains the DVD for that few episodes, 3 or 4 episodes, whatever it is. And it comes with storyboard books for every single episode of the show. So this is Studio Gonzo, and this is actually pretty darn cool. It's in Japanese, so it's a little bit confusing, but you can actually see the books are sort of laid out in a top to bottom view, and they go through the storyboard of every single episode as it was written out. I'd love if I could read Japanese or if this was translated, but at the very least, it's really cool to see the sketches that they have. Like, some of these sketches are pretty badass, just to kind of see how they were storyboarding things. So, it's a very interesting set, to say the least. It's probably... This was a remnant of that age that I was telling you about where I got really fantastic deals on big boxes of anime like this. I believe that these got cleared out, and I think I paid something like $8 or $9 per box, which, for 7 boxes still comes out to $60 or $70, but considering that the box set for Samurai 7 at the time, without all of this extra shit, was like $100 or $120, it was a pretty good deal. And it's a cool little conversation piece sitting on top of my bookshelf like it does, but I forget about it all the time because it's not in my alphabetical order. It's like way off on the top. So, oh wait, I didn't even say anything about the anime itself. It's good. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's been several years since I've seen it last, but it was good. It considering it's an anime retelling of Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai, with giant robots and crazy fucking shit flying around everywhere, and just a super interesting design to a lot of things. They did a good job with it. I thought it was very interesting, it was good, it was fun, and yeah, I'd give it a recommend. Absolutely. Serial Experiment Lain, actually. This is a really cool box set. This is another one I picked up from GameStop back when I was working there. I don't know if this box set's worth anything. I know they just re-released it. It's one of the problems with anime. Like, even though this is a pioneer release, if it gets re-released, I find that the old boxes are sometimes not worth fucking anything. Like, what was it? Akira. The one that I have is the Pioneer Special Edition. And I was like, this is Pioneer. This is before they went under and turned into Genion and all that shit. This might be worth something. It's to a collector. And I looked it up on eBay. It's worth like fucking $10. Whatever. So this might be a similar case. But this is a cool as hell slipcover. It's a DVD case that is very well designed. Like you can see, it's got really beautiful art on the cover. And we did this on cover by cover. It's a very bizarre show. Very trippy, but very cool. And I would definitely recommend it. If you haven't seen it, give it a shot. It's very, very cool, like paranormal, kind of a little bit of a mystery vibe to it. Very trippy and very stylized. So definitely give this a shot if you can. But don't watch fucking Haibane Renmei. That show's garbage. So I can't play H. Whoa, there's a porno. How'd this get in here? This is another one that I picked up on sale. I have not actually watched this yet. However, I did watch some YouTube clips of like funny moments from the show, and they were fucking really funny. So it was enough to convince me to be like, you know what, I'll drop the $15. It was another Sentai sale. As you can see, it's unopened. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Also, I really don't like it when they do covers like that, where like if you hold it upside down, it looks like it's the right side up. I'm gonna hold it like this. Now nobody's happy. Soul Eater is a fun show. I've never finished watching it, to be totally honest. I'd like to go back and watch it again, but unfortunately, Will is a little bit of a blabbermouth and really likes to talk about anime, despite if you've seen it or not, and spoil stuff. And he didn't really spoil this one for me per se, but he did very much vocalize his displeasure with the last several episodes, or the last episode at the very least. He said that he thinks the ending to the show is garbage, so it's a bit of a bummer because now I'm not super excited to go finish it, but I will at some point, I know. Speedgrapher is a horror anime for sure. Very dark, very depraved, sometimes for the sake of depravity. I don't think I can recommend this one. It was cool. There were some cool elements to it. I really like kind of the basic plot. The main character in the show is a photographer who is like a war photographer who has PTSD and all this shit. But he ends up accidentally getting the power, like basically like the power of the devil. I don't remember what they call it exactly, but he gets superpowers. And the superpower that he gets is when he uses a camera and he basically activates like his demon eye or whatever it is. When he takes a picture of somebody or something, it fucking explodes. So if he takes a picture of somebody, they fucking explode. It's cool. It's a cool kind of element. The plot is weird. I don't know. I just can't really like recommend it again because there are some really bizarre characters in the show that don't really show up too often. There's a female like protagonist / antagonist who's like a weird sex pervert and like almost straight up rapes the main character, the male main character, like several times. It's really, really odd. And yeah, there are a lot of decisions made in the show that just seem gross for the sake of being edgy or being gross. It just wasn't fulfilling. Like, you look at a show like Parasyte. Like, Parasyte has really dark elements, really violent elements in it, but it's all for achieving a bigger storyline, for really making something special. And this one does not reach those heights. So, I don't know. I don't really recommend Speedgrapher. Spice and Wolf is an anime that I picked up recently. I have not gotten a chance to watch very much of it. I watched the first couple of episodes. It's cool though. It's a neat anime. The reason I was kind of turned on to it, apart from having a cute fox girl, I had heard that it's less focused on like adventure and there's no like sword and sorcery or anything like that. It's actually the main character is like a money trader. And his goal, like he's a trader, and a lot of the show has to do with kind of like the economics of the time, and it seems like a very interesting premise. From everything I read, they said, it's a much more toned back. There's a little bit of romance between, the main character and this fox, wolf girl, whatever she is, the spirit, and she's a bit of a tsundere or whatever, but they form a relationship as they go, and he does a lot of tradey related things in medieval times. Again, I only watched the first couple of episodes. Maybe people were fucking lying to me and blowing smoke up my ass, but it seems like it would be a cool premise. I have so many adventure and action anime. Sometimes it's cool to get something that's a little more toned back and a little more, simpler, I guess. So I'm looking forward to it. Next up, of course, is Spirited Away. I don't know what else to say about this one besides what we said in our 25 anime movies you should check out. It's a fantastic movie. This is my favorite Studio Ghibli movie of all time. I am totally blown away by the design. I love, love, love the set, like the whole castle where they spend the majority of the movie. So beautiful, so well made. Really enchanting, really cool. It doesn't have like the action elements of Princess Mononoke. It doesn't have like the deeper political elements. But it tells some very important stories, and it is kind of a tale about growing up. It's a tale about learning about some things in the world and kind of discovering yourself, and a lot of really cool beats that just really help to drive the story along. So, I don't know, I definitely recommend this one. If you, for some reason, haven't seen Hayao Miyazaki's backlog, Spirited Away is a great place to start. I have introduced many people to anime with this movie, and it's the type of thing where you show them this and they're like, this is really cool, I want to watch more. So it's a great gateway drug into our hobby, so give it a shot. You'll definitely, I think that you'll love it as much as I do. Maybe not your favorite ever, but give it a shot. Steam Boy is a little bit weird because I remember watching Steam Boy when I was younger and really liking it, like a lot liking it. And me and Will rewatched it for our 25 top anime movies, and it did not make the cut. I think we put it on the honorable mentions list, but it did not make the cut for the list because it felt really childish. The plot just didn't have the gravitas that they were going for, and it really, it bills it on here that it's from the director of Akira, so it's like, oh my god, if this is going to be, something like Akira, this is going to be crazy. It's rated PG-13, so you'd think that, this has maybe a little bit more adult elements, but it really felt like a kid's movie. It felt like it was so toned back and very heavy-handed in its messages. I don't know. It just didn't really ring as prominent with me, and I got bored as we watched it. So it's a little disappointing, you know, kind of to quote-unquote tarnish the memory I had of it from when I was younger, but, you know, sometimes anime don't hold up. You watch something when you're young and you really, really love it, and you watch it again when you're older and wiser, and it just isn't quite as good. So happens sometimes. It's still not bad. The steampunk elements in it are really cool. You know, they have some really, really cool designs. They do, I don't know the name of it, but I know that the main character rides around in one of those, like a 360 wheel around you. Like, you're kind of sitting in the middle of it, and the wheel is, like, totally going around you, kind of like a motorcycle, sort of. That was cool. There's a big action scene where he has a big chase on that. It's a fun movie, but it's boring, kind of, and heavy-handed, and I don't know. I guess if I had to say recommendation, yes or no, I would go with no. But if you're interested in watching, you know, a classic anime movie and you got nothing else to watch, it might be worth putting on, you know, if it's on Netflix or Amazon Prime. Steel Angel Kurumi? Why are they all naked? Every one of these anime I bought from my roommate, they're all naked. My roommate's a pervert. Also, that's a fucking palette swap. I've never noticed that. So I bought these from my roommate. Again, he was getting rid of his anime, and I just realized disc 1 and disc 4 are fucking palette swaps. It's Ryu and Ken. Oh, Ken. I've never watched this. I got it from him for a steal, so it's an ADV film too, so it's one of those ones that might be a little harder to come by. I've never watched it though, so okay, I'll get around to it. I don't know. Hey, Steins Gate. Steins Gate is a great anime. I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. This was one of the first anime I watched with Will. This is a lot of fun. It's a very cool time travel anime. I don't know that time travel's been told better, to be honest. I think that this is probably one of the best handlings of the story that they've done. I don't think that the anime's flawless. I think that there are some issues with it. Nothing to get into here, and nothing that I would really detract too many points from it for. But I really enjoyed it quite a bit. A lot of very likable characters, very cool storylines. I would recommend it for sure. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Next up, we have Street Fighter. I don't think these are actually anime, but... The Street Fighter 2 movie's a lot of fun. I think that this is obviously much better than the old shitty cartoon, but this does a great job of showing you the characters, giving you some fun fan service. The characters are very faithfully reproduced. A lot of times in these types of products, they're like, oh, you have a big Russian wrestler, huh? Let's go ahead and make him like a fucking bartender or some shit. I don't know. But they actually faithfully use the characters. Unfortunately, sometimes it's just quick cameos. You know, I think Dulcim and Blanca were like in a cage match or something. E Honda was in a real quick fight with Ryu early on, and then he just kind of disappeared. But it's the best they could do. You're working with a video game series that has like 12 or 16 or 17 characters to choose from, but you can't really make an anime movie with that many characters. It's going to get too bogged down. Some of them have to be relegated to like kind of cameos or just quick, you know, nods or whatever. To that end, there were some really cool action scenes in this. The fight scene between Chun-Li and Vega is super cool, very well done. Guile is pretty cool in it. He's a little bit more of a plot element, kind of moving things along. There's a really, really badass fight scene between Ryu and Sagat. You know, just, I don't know, I would recommend it. If you're a fan of Street Fighter or just cool action scenes in a movie, I mean, it's just a movie. It's only, you know, 90, 100 minutes or whatever. So you're not going to be losing a ton of time. You're going to have some fun and hopefully enjoy watching it. So, recommend. Hadouken! Hadouken! Summer Wars. This is my favorite anime movie by Mamoru Hosoda. Hosoda? This is a fantastic anime movie. This is a fantastic movie. I think that this is really a masterpiece. This is super well done. Personally, none of his work comes close to this. Like, he's Mamoru Hosoda is who I'm referencing with this. He's done some other good films. You know, he did The Boy and the Beast, he did Wolf Children, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. He's done some other good work, but this is like a crowning achievement personally. I really like this. Why do I like it so much? First and foremost, I'm a big technology nerd. Like I do IT work more or less for a living, but I live and breathe IT. Everything's connected, everything is very much networked, but I'm also a very private person. I'm not the type of person who like throws their entire identity and everything else on the cloud. I keep my things protected, and with this, it's a cool glimpse into a future where everything is connected. Like literally everything is connected, and it's not a totally unique concept by any means. There have been a lot of recent stories where it's like, the whole world is on the internet, so what happens if a virus or whatever? And that's more or less what this boils down to, but it's a really cool presentation. It's a really cool look into just a universe where, everything is connected on this very Japanese and very fanciful online universe, and kind of how they fight against this threat, how they fight against this, I think, more or less a virus that gets unleashed. And it's not just that, though. Like, if this movie was nothing but this crazy online, like, world with flying trains and squirrels and fucking whatever, it would be dumb. But it's not. And actually it focuses not quite so much on that, and more on the real-life people behind these avatars, the real-life people and the repercussions that they're seeing in the world. How they come together as a family, how they utilize their real-world talents to be able to achieve greatness in this virtual landscape and being able to conquer this villain. And pinnacle of the movie, I don't know if it was the climax, but like the pinnacle of the movie is this scene that's so like touching and it's so emotionally charged. Like the way that they score the whole thing. I don't want to get into spoilers. If you're interested in a more kind of thorough review, Will did Summer Wars in America Season 2. That was his solo season on there. And he talks very much in depth about this, and near the end of the review, you'll get to what I'm talking about. But like, I get misty-eyed thinking about that sequence and thinking about how they come, essentially how everything comes together, how everyone manages to overcome this villain, and how it just culminates in such an awe-inspiring scene. And it's cool. It's very, very, very cool. I wouldn't say that this is the most unique or pristine concept. There are some flaws to the movie, of course. But when it comes to Mamoru Hosoda and his catalog, Summer Wars is my number one pick for what he has available. So I highly, highly, highly recommend this one. Check it out if you haven't seen it. I absolutely recommend it. Next up, we got one called Tekkon Kincrete. I have not watched this. It is still sealed. This one, to be completely honest, I bought because it had good reviews and it cost like $5. So I haven't watched it yet. It's an anime movie or an anthology or something like that. I gotta check it out. Haven't seen it yet though. It is one of the best anime movies ever, according to Eric Nakamura from Giant Robot Magazine. Well, you have to believe him. He has a Japanese last name. That's racist. How dare you? So now we're starting into the Tenchi Muyo series. So this is Tenchi Muyo Ryo-Oki. This is the most recent one that I purchased of the Tenchi Muyo set. I did not own the Ryo-Oki. I think it's an OVA, kind of, but it's like a small series. It's 7 episodes. I haven't watched it yet, though. I really enjoyed Tenchi Muyo when I was a kid. I loved it. I thought it was great. I had a huge, huge crush on Ryoko. I still do. Ryoko is my waifu. Step the fuck back if you think that your waifu is Ryoko, because she's mine. Claimed, motherfucker. Yeah, I really like the show, though. I haven't seen Ryo-Oki, but I'm looking forward to watching it. It's one of those ones where I'm going to kind of look online and see, like, what order should I watch all of these in, get it all set, and then just watch the whole show, everything at once. So, to that end, I actually have pretty much all of the Tenchi Muyo stuff. I have the movie collection. I'm sorry. I think I have all of the Tenchi Muyo stuff. Please correct me if I'm missing anything, because I'm a completionist. I have the movie collection, Tenchi the Movie, Tenchi Movie 2, The Daughter of Darkness, Tenchi Forever, Tenchi Muyo Mihoshi Special, and Magical Girl Pretty Sammy. Which is fucking garbage. Why? Dear God. Anyway. I have those. I have Tenchi Muyo, I have Tenchi Universe, I have Tenchi in Tokyo, and I have Tenchi Muyo GXP. This, as far as I know, this is the last one that came out, but maybe they came out with a more recent Tenchi Muyo, I don't know. If they did, it was probably like a reboot or a retelling or something. But please, correct me if I'm wrong. I would like to know because, you know, I want to get caught up on Tenchi, just to pull everything out for posterity. Here's Tenchi Universe, yay! This nice old school box set, back when anime box sets were just Tenchi in Tokyo, and Tenchi Muyo is at Will's house. Next up we have Terror in Resonance. This is the other anime that my folks got me for Christmas, and I haven't opened it yet, so I don't know anything about it. Got good reviews from what I saw. It looks like a cool psychological anime. I don't think it's a horror, but it's it definitely came highly recommended. The trailer for it looked really cool. That's kind of what sold me on this one. So Terror in Resonance, I am looking forward to it, but I haven't watched it yet. Tiger and Bunny Season 1. Yeah, Tiger and Bunny, I haven't gotten a chance to watch this whole series yet. It's, again, as I mentioned before, I'm not going to really get into this one until I pick up the second half of the season. I think it's episodes 14 through 25 or whatever. Real quick update, I did pick up the Blu-ray set 2 for Tiger and Bunny. Apparently I paid $40 for it, so whatever. Yeah, I did finally pick this up, and I haven't opened it yet or watched it, as you can see, but I'm a completionist! Again! Ah! Tokyo Ghoul. I have the first season of Tokyo Ghoul. I'm loaning it to Will, I think, and he hasn't returned it yet. But I have Tokyo Ghoul Season 2. It looks fine. The first season of Tokyo Ghoul was okay. I could have used a little bit more development or whatever, but hopefully Season 2 rectifies that. Yeah! Tokyo Majin I actually haven't watched yet. I bought this on the recommendation... oh, God. This is kind of a scary-ass thing to see on the back. There's like... Ah! Yeah, I bought this as a recommendation from Will. He reviewed this on Season 2, or maybe they reviewed it on Season 1, I can't remember. But it looked really cool from the review, and it was one that I wanted to watch and check out, so I bought it. It was one of the save editions, so it was real cheap. So yeah, hopefully this will be a cool one. Alright, this next anime is called Toriko. Toriko! I love the cover for this one. It's like... Toriko is just a stupid-ass premise that wouldn't work anywhere but a shonen. The main character, Toriko, is a super powerful warrior who is on a quest to taste all of the most delicious food on the face of the planet, because it is the age of, like, the gourmet age or something they call it. So he literally goes on a quest to catch, defeat, and beat up the most intensely powerful animals in the world so that he can then eat them. And there's a little bumbling character who goes along with him who's like a master chef, and the chef is training because he wants to be able to cook the most impressive, tasty food in the world. He and Toriko team up because, of course, Toriko wants to eat all the shit that he cooks after he punches the hell out of it and defeats it. So I'm really looking forward to this series. Unfortunately, I bought the collection version very shortly before they started releasing like super collections that have like 180 billion episodes for $15. I guess because of that, it's not going to cost me too much to replace what I've already bought. But if I want to continue this series, I need to now hunt out this kind of out-of-date-ish collection series to get the rest of the episodes. And I think this is a 100-and-something long episode series. So, yeah, it's fun, though. So far, I'm enjoying what I watched so far, with the little bit of it that I have watched so far. Trigun, the limited collector's edition. I actually picked up these tins. These were a pain in the ass to get. Geneon, of course, these were released very shortly before Geneon fucked up everything for themselves and their loved ones. They were a little expensive. I think I paid like 80 or 90 bucks a piece. Maybe they're worth more now? I don't know. Probably not, because the world hates me. But these are cool. They're actually like tins that come with the little slip covers inside, and it has the whole series. So Trigun, what can you say about it that hasn't already been said? Trigun is a great series. You know, we talked about it in Animerica Season 3. Pretty much said everything we need to. So if you want to check out those episodes, we definitely recommend them. But it's a solid recommended anime. They're a lot of fun. Trigun is a really cool story. They need to make Trigun Ultimate. Just like they've done Hellsing Ultimate, they need to go back and redo Trigun because it's been many, many years since the show came out. The manga has finished, I think, and actually the manga may have come out with the Trigun Ultimate or something else like that. They need to go back and redo this because there are some problems with this, and they did stray from the manga in some big ways. So I think it's time for somebody to go back and redo Trigun. Somebody out there who's watching this video who knows, whose uncle works for Japan. Go pitch Trigun Ultimate and get somebody working on it. My dad works at Nintendo. He'll coordinate with you. Trinity Blood is a cool series. I picked this up originally because it was billed as like the next Hellsing. It's not quite the next Hellsing. It's cool though. It's definitely very well designed. The characters are maybe a little over designed. Follows it's actually a very similar premise to Hellsing. The main character is like a super powerful vampire who's kind of locked behind some secret codes and can't unleash his ultimate power unless somebody says the magic words or whatever. And he fights against some other characters who are cool. It wasn't totally, like resonating, staying with me forever, but I would like to rewatch this one. This is definitely on my short list of anime I need to go back and rewatch. The world seemed cool. I remember they had some giant gunships and shit like that, so that was pretty badass. But yeah, it's on my short list. I will be checking it out again. Alright, we're just about there. We're in the V's. Vampire Hunter D is a classic. This is a fucking masterpiece of a movie. Very, very well made. Very cool visually. Very badass. Just art overall. The animation in it was super cool. D is a badass character. You really root for him as he goes through and just, acts like a total hard ass. I really love the art style on this. Actually, this is a really cool cover. Now that I'm looking at it, the artwork is very familiar to me. I'm wondering who did this piece. Maybe it's actually from the original artist. I don't know. But, no, very, very cool anime. And they just re-released the DVD. This is from Sentai Filmworks. It's pretty affordable. I think I got this for like $15 or something. It's worth it. If you like, again, classic anime movies like, Akira and that ninja one. What did I talk about? Fucking Ninja Scroll. Jesus Christ. Check this one out. Very violent, very gory, very dark, but very cool. I recommend it. To go along with that, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. Bloodlust is the follow-up to Vampire Hunter D. Came out much later, actually. This is from the mid-2000s, I think, or early 2000s. So yeah, this came out in 2001. Very cool, very, very stylized update. The animation is much different than it was in Vampire Hunter D, but a lot of people really like this one, and actually a lot of people prefer Bloodlust to Vampire Hunter D. So, to be honest, it's been a long time since I've seen them. When I originally watched them, I remember liking the original one more than Bloodlust, but I need to go back and rewatch them. Maybe I will have changed my mind at this point. But Bloodlust is still a high recommendation, very much so. Definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. Watamote! No matter how I look at it, it's you guys' fault I'm not popular. This is a goofy one. Watamote, I can't remember if it was a webcomic originally or if it actually had a whole manga. She's basically a super socially awkward girl. Obviously not conventionally pretty, very unkempt, very gross. Like you can see in most of the art of her, she has like these big bags under her eyes. The show is a lot of fun though. It's very cute. Helter-skelter kind of. It's not quite as absurdist as some other anime like Cromartie High or like Haven't You Heard I'm Sakamoto. But it's definitely pretty absurd. It's a lot of fun to just follow this super socially awkward girl as she tries to not be super socially awkward. So I enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. I would recommend checking this one out. I have not finished watching it. I watched the first several episodes and I enjoyed what I saw. I need to go back and finish this one though. Welcome to the NHK is an anime that I finished. Oh my god. Those do exist. Welcome to the NHK was very good. This one we watched partially for cover by cover. The cover by cover episode, unfortunately, I don't think we did it a lot of justice. Like we kind of talked about some goofy shit, but this is a high recommendation because it's very, very well made. The character is very believable. That's weird to say because he's like a super bizarre hikikomori and is in desperate need of rehabilitation, but he actually seeks out that rehabilitation. So it's a very cool show. It's a lot of fun. It's not perfect, not quite. There are a few story elements that I wish that they had worked on a little bit more, and there is an arc in the show that I basically feel is a copy of the primary arc that's going on. almost beat for beat. What it is it's an arc that kind of just peters out, I guess, and it doesn't really feel quite as impactful as it should, or it doesn't really feel like it kind of belongs in the anime, I guess. I'd be more inclined to talk more about it in like spoiler talk, of course. I don't want to go nuts and spoil everything about the anime. But definitely check this one out. Despite my grumbling or whatever, check it out. It's a great anime. It was available on Netflix. That's where I watched it. Definitely check it out, though. The Wind Rises. You know what? To be totally honest, I didn't like this. I feel a little bad because this is Hayao Miyazaki, and it's one of his most recent works. I don't think it is his most recent anymore. Maybe it is, 2014. I couldn't finish it, and I feel a little bad about that because I've loved almost everything that Hayao Miyazaki has done, but this one was just boring. It was a little boring, and I just got bored of it, and the subject matter really didn't grip me. It was about it was like plane engineers or something. There's a bit of like wartime stuff and kind of the repercussions of that. And then there were these, like the main characters, as far as I can tell, are like basically like plane designers or like, you know, they basically work on drafting and stuff. And it was so slow. Like it really just dragged and dragged. And I don't remember how far, 45 minutes into the movie, an hour into the movie, and I just kind of stopped. I didn't care to continue. So I'll give it an honest shake again. I may change my verdict on this, but as of right now, this is at the bottom of my Ghibli list, so I could not recommend it as highly as I do any of his other films. Except for Porco Rosso, because I have not seen Porco Rosso. Wolf Children, I talked a little bit about this already with the Summer Wars one, and it's very good. Wolf Children was very good. It's a little bizarre. The concept is a little, you have to kind of say, okay, I'm okay with some weirdness happening a little bit with this concept, but it's a very heartwarming film. It's very touching, kind of the way that, you know, everything goes on. You know, it's about this woman raising her kids who are basically half wolf, half human hybrids, sort of, and the struggles that come with that. So it's a very down-to-earth anime, which is bizarre to say because there are wolf children and lycanthropes and shit like that. It feels like it should be more fantasy than it is, but it's very down-to-earth and very rooted. I did enjoy that. I did like that quite a bit. I think part of the reason that Summer Wars ekes this one out for my top spot for Mamoru Hosobu films is just that. It's the fact that, you know, Summer Wars has both that realistic element and a extremely fantastic fantasy side, and they're a very good balance. With this one, it's so rooted in reality that the elements of like the kind of the fantasy elements of having lycanthrope or half wolf, half children, it's so mellow. Like, yes, it's a struggle, and yes, it's a bizarre thing, because they can fucking have ears and a tail, that kind of thing. But it's so mellow that it's very on par for kind of that same, like, level of sort of realism. So, it's a good film. Please, don't get me wrong, it's a very good film. I very much like this one. For the most part, when I spend money on an anime, it's because I like it. Like, if I've bought it, sometimes I take a risk. It's something I haven't seen. And there have been some anime I have gotten rid of, where I've bought it, watched it, it was garbage, and then I sold it. But Wolf Children is one I specifically sought out because it is a good film. It is a very good film. So check this one out if you haven't seen it. I highly recommend it. Your Name is a beautiful film. Holy shit, if you have not seen Your Name, you are doing anime wrong. Like, just looking at the cover was like making me remember about this anime and like making me misty-eyed. Holy shit. We talked about this a lot in our top 25 anime. Will and I got a chance to see it before it got, like, you know, fully released here in the States, and we watched it again in the theater. And then I bought it, and I've watched it like 2 or 3 times since then. This is a masterpiece in anime. It is some of the best visual design I've seen in any film, anime or otherwise, like some of the best just visual design overall. The landscapes and the scenery and everything is just breathtakingly gorgeous, and the storyline is amazing. It's so heartwarming. It starts off like the premise sounds really dumb. It's like, oh, body swap anime. Sounds dumb. It sounds dumb at first, but it's executed so well. It's really cute, it's really nice, and it's very heartwarming, and it's very touching, and it's very funny, and it's very emotional, and it's very, God, it's everything. It's everything I want in an anime movie. So please watch this. It's absolutely adorable. This is an anime I showed my mother, who does not watch anime, and she loved it. She really, really liked this one, and she said as much right then and there. She was like, this is a great movie. So please check this one out. If you haven't seen it, for some reason, Your Name, check it out. Yu Hakusho! Yu Hakusho Ghost Files. I actually have the 4 parts to this one, the 4 seasons as they call it. Yu Hakusho is a lot of fun. It's a very cool shonen. To be completely honest, I have not watched the entire thing yet, but I have gotten through most of it. I know I watched the entire first season. I believe I watched the entire second season, and somewhere, I don't remember where I stopped. It was somewhere in like the Dark Tournament. So maybe that was still the second season. I can't remember. Somebody will correct me in the comments section, I'm sure. But I got up to partway through like the big tournament that they were holding. So it's a lot of fun though. This is a really cool series. I definitely recommend checking this one out if you have not seen it before. Very fun shonen, very likable characters, very intriguing plot lines, and cool villains. You know, really cool design. So definitely check this one out if you get a chance. If you like shonen anime, this is one to check out. The final anime in my anime collection is Yusibu! I couldn't become a hero, so I reluctantly decided to get a job. This is a really cute anime. This is absolutely... Well, it's actually not really a harem, to be honest. There's like one girl who likes him in the whole show, so there are definitely a lot of cute girls in the anime. It's a fun as hell plot, though. So, basic plot, the age of heroes is upon us. Like, there's, you know, this big demon king, Satan, basically, who is rampaging across the landscape and being a big bad guy. And our main character here, the gentleman, is a warrior. He's a, you know, sword and shield, trained warrior who's getting deployed to the front line. And he's like, you know, I'm ready for combat. We're going to go take down the demon king. No sooner than he gets deployed for combat than the demon king is defeated. So, like, the first 5 minutes of the first episode, the Demon King is, like, dead, and the war's over. Everything's great. So, the hero's like, alright, we win! The fuck do I do now? So, the rest of the series, he basically, well, immediately he picks up a job as a clerk at, like, a retail store, literally selling, like, air conditioners and refrigerators and shit. After he's a super duper awesome hero, he gets a job selling just, you know, household wares. It's a lot of fun. It's very cute just because of that dynamic. You know, it's like this age of heroes has just come to an end, and people are making ends meet. You know, they're kind of just doing what they can. The girl here, you know, becomes the new employee of the shop, and of course, you know, because anime is tropey and all that shit, it turns out that she is the daughter of the Demon King. So there's, you know, they don't really play on that a whole lot. It's kind of like, oh, you're the daughter of the Demon King. That's awkward. Okay, get back to work. But there's a cute relationship that kind of buds between these two characters. Of course, more things happen down this road. You know, that it's not just them doing retail for the whole series. But it's fun. It's very cute. It's a very nice series. See some good growth with the characters as the show goes on. There's a lot of fun stuff that they talk about and do. And there's cute girls with boobs and... Holy shit, we actually finished! Hooray! Yeah, I know this is going to be a really long video. Thank you very much for sticking it out with me this time, you know, for this amount of time, but words are hard. And checking out my anime collection with me. This is a lot of fun. Going back and looking at, you know, the collection, of course, I have a ton of anime I really want to go back and watch. Things that I either just petered out on or I never watched, still in the shrink wrap. You know, I've got all sorts of stuff I can go back and check out. So if you see anything on my shelf that, you know, you think that I definitely need to watch or I should prioritize, please let me know in the comments below. If you want to disagree with me on some anime, if you think that This Ugly Yet Beautiful World is the best anime ever created, you're wrong. But you're free to leave a comment, and I am free to make fun of you for your bad opinion. But yeah, please, you know, leave a comment. I love talking with with you guys and kind of communicating like humans do in text format with keyboards. Please make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't for some reason. And thank you very much for your time. My name is JT Camp. This has been An America Cribs.